In this video, we are going to discuss adding an assignment to your course. The assignment module would be used if you are going to ask your students to turn in any papers, if you want them to answer a simple question as far as an essay question, or if you want to be able to remind your students of something that they need to do. So there's a variety of ways that you can use the assignment module. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into how you set up an assignment module. So I'm going to click on Add an Activity or Resource because that's always where you need to start. I'm going to click on Assignment and click on Add. And as on the others, you always have your description. This is what you're working with. You always have the more help that will take you directly to the Moodle Docs page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Add. And when this comes up, we're going to be able to go in and to define our assignment. So as we're looking at this, you're going to give your assignment a name. So we'll say that this is Chapter 1, pages 2 and 3. You have to give it a description. So we're going to go in and we'll say this is where you will upload your questions for Chapter 1. These questions should be answered in a Word document and then uploaded here. If you click on this box, it will show this explanation underneath the assignment link. So if you click on here, it would automatically put that on. This next section gives when the assignment is available, for the student to be able to see. So if this is something you want to arrange and it show up later at a later date, you can change this date. This is the due date of the assignment. And so this, in other words, is when you're saying that the assignment should be turned in. You need to make sure that you set your time slot where you want your time to be at. I always make my assignments due at midnight, which is actually 5 till midnight because the latest you can go is 23:55. So that's as late as you can make it. If you do not do the cutoff date, in other words, if you do not also fill the cutoff date, then the student will be able to continue handing assignments in. It will just be marked as late. So if you want it to be set up to where the student can no longer turn the assignment in, you also need to set the cutoff date. Usually what I do is that if assignment is due on the 4th, then I'll make my cutoff date on the 5th, so it gives them a little bit of time. Like I said, I will still know that those assignments have not been turned in on time, and so I can still adjust the grade accordingly. The next section is submission type, and so this is where you choose what type of an assignment you're making. If you choose online text, this simply gives them a box in which they can answer a question. And I'm going to show you these different assignment types in a little bit, but that gives you a place where your students can just simply go in and type. What you need to keep in mind is if it is a longer assignment, I would not do an online text assignment. I would have them do it in a Word document and then upload it. It just is a lot easier for the students. If they need to start and stop and those kind of things, it's a little bit more difficult to do in an online text assignment. A file submission allows them to upload, and you can dictate how many files they can upload and how large of files they can upload. Submission comments also gives them a place that they can make comments about what they are turning in. You can click more than one of these at the same time. So in other words, you could have them where they have to type in a paragraph and then give you a Word document or whatever it happens to be. On this one, we're just going to go ahead and go File Submission. Maximum number of uploaded files, they only need 1. A lot of times I will put this at 3 just in case there's the student has difficulty. It will allow them to upload without me having to change anything. You can also dictate how large a file. Well, you need to be careful here. If it's a Word document, you're probably not going to have issues with that. If it's some of the other file types, you might. So you need to make sure that what you set this at works for what you're having your students do. Feedback types dictates what you can give back to them. Do you want to just make comments? Do you want to do some type of offline grading sheet that they have to look at? Do you want to do feedback files? If you click feedback files, if they turn in a Word document to you, you can actually go in and make corrections on that document and then upload it back to them. So I always give myself that option. I very rarely ever use the offline grading system. I always leave feedback comments, and so I usually always check those too. Submission settings, you can change whether they have to have a submit button. I always leave these at no, because if you require those and the students don't check them, then they're going to have trouble turning their assignments in. Note that I can always make these smaller, so it gives me a little bit more freedom as far as what I'm giving. I always check no on these. If you leave these as yes, it will send you an email every time a student turns in an assignment. So if you have 20 students, you're going to get 20 emails saying that they turned in the assignment. And to me, that's more emails than I want to get. The grading section allows you to put points in, or you can say that it's not a graded assignment. So it allows you to put what points in. I always use the simple direct grading method. If you set up categories, and we talked about this in back in one of the previous modules, if you set up categories, it will put your grade in whatever category you have set for that item. So we'll say 4. Common module settings, do you want it to show? Do you not want it to show? Do you want it groups? Those kind of things. So it just gives you the typical settings that we've had on the other assignments. Again, you can restrict access. So in other words, you can say you have to show that you've been in the PowerPoint presentation before you can turn in this assignment. So it just allows you to give those type of stipulations. And last but not least is the activity completion, and I always do activity completion on assignment. So I say show activity as complete when conditions are met, and my conditions usually are students must submit. I click on save and return to course. And the assignment comes up. Okay. As you're looking at these, we still have the same tools. So in other words, we can still change the name of the assignment. I always indent just to make it a little bit neater when the students are looking at it. As we go on across, you can move up or down. I can go back in and edit anything I had before. If I'm going to do several of the same type of assignments, I can click on copy the assignment. If I decide this is not one that I want to do, I can X out of it and it will delete it. This will hide it from the student. This button will allow you to do groups, and this will allow you to change the role. So in other words, if you want to make a student actually the teacher on this assignment, it will allow you to do that. This completes how you add an assignment.